So today we're looking at one of the most affordable Samsung phones you can get, the Galaxy A14 5G. Now this is the unlocked version. I paid just under $200, but I'll leave a link in the description of the video with current pricing and more information. I believe right now the only color available for the United States is black. It's got 64 gigabytes of storage. You can use a micro SD card up to 1 terabyte. Now, depending on which version you get, this one has a MediaTek Dimensity 700 processor. There's also a version that's got an Exynos 1330 processor as well. 2408 by 1080 resolution, so it's a full HD plus LCD display. 3 cameras there on the back. The main lens is a 50 megapixel, a sort of a teardrop style 13 megapixel front facing camera. This one has 4 gigabytes of RAM. You're also going to get dual band Wi-Fi on here. You've also got NFC, and this one has a headphone jack as well. You've also got a USB-C to USB-C charging cable. You will notice you don't get a charging brick or a wall adapter with this one though. Okay, I think it's pretty clear what they're doing here on the back. It's a flat design here on the back with some texture. You can see they're trying to make the design look like the S23 series. Not a bad idea. I feel like that looks pretty good, especially for a more budget device like this. You get the fingerprint scanner right there on the power button on the right hand side, volume rocker right above that, SIM card, micro SD card tray on the opposite side. There on the bottom you've got your USB-C charging, headphone jack, and speaker. Here it is next to the Galaxy A13. Pretty similar design, but I feel like the 14 is a little bit boxier. The 14 feels a little bit taller and a little wider as well. The only downside I can see with that texture on the back, makes a weird noise when you try to clean it off. Now when setting the phone up, you've got face recognition, fingerprint scanner, pattern, PIN, and password. Now it looks like right out of the box, it's using about 28% of the 64 gigabyte storage, but I don't have any of my usual apps installed yet, so I would assume it's gonna be about half full by the time I get everything installed. Software-wise, this is currently on Android 13, One UI 5.0, November 1st security patch. You'll also notice there's a little bit bigger bezel there towards the bottom or the side, depending on how you're holding this phone. Nice thing is you get full HD playback resolution on apps like Netflix, up to 1440p resolution for YouTube videos. So even though this is an entry-level device, the screen on here actually looks better than you would expect, especially considering the price. You'll also notice left of the home screen, you've got the option of Google Discover or Samsung Free. Both are pretty good options, just kind of comes down to personal preference. Then you can see there are some pre-installed apps on here. You get most of your typical ones from Google, Microsoft, Samsung, and then luckily you can uninstall some of the apps that you don't want on here. Now up in the notification shade, you've got most of your typical stuff like Wi-Fi, sound, Bluetooth, auto rotate, airplane mode, flashlight, mobile data, mobile hotspot. You've also got power saving, location, quick share, nearby share, eye comfort shield, dark mode, do not disturb, scan QR code. You've also got modes, and if you hit the little plus symbol, there's a ton of stuff to add in here like microphone access, NFC, live caption, extra dim, high contrast fonts, color inversion, kids, protect battery, call and text on other devices, Dolby Atmos, and create note. One thing I always forget to point out, you also have shortcuts up here at the top to turn the power off, restart, or emergency call. And then you can edit the buttons, get the quick panel layout, status bar, and contact us. You've also got some motions and gestures on here, like double tap to turn on the screen or to turn off the screen, turn over the phone to mute calls. If you bring your phone close to your ear, it'll call the contact whose message or contact details are on the screen. You can also use the fingerprint scanner to open notifications as well. Even though this isn't gonna have the best performance out there, it still does a pretty good job at gaming when testing PUBG Mobile and Asphalt 9, and it feels fairly fast just moving around the software. Doesn't really feel as slow as you would think. So I ran a battery drain test on here, and this phone actually lasts a really long time, about 9 hours before dying completely. But the weird thing is, when I ran the same test on the Galaxy A13 5G, it lasted 1 hour longer at 10 hours. Not sure why that is. Either way, just really good battery life on here, so you shouldn't have to worry about that. Probably would last 1 to 2 days, depending on what your usage is like. Now, one downside is you've only got one speaker down here at the bottom. Not gonna be the loudest out there, but actually sounds pretty decent when you turn it all the way up. So if you wanna use that, or of course, Bluetooth headphones as well. Now, just a quick look inside the camera app. You can see you've got portrait, photo, video. Also under more, you've got pro, macro, panorama, night, food, slow motion, and hyperlapse. And then you can record up to 1080p resolution, 30 frames per second for video recording. It's not going to be the fastest shutter speed out there, but I gotta say for an entry-level phone, it actually does pretty decent as far as photos go. Here's a few quick samples of photos and video just to give you an idea of what to expect from the Galaxy A14 5G. Now, due to the shutter speed being pretty slow on here, it is a little more challenging to take photos or video with this phone, especially in lower light situations. But if you're patient and you get a little bit of practice using this, you can actually get some pretty decent quality on here. I feel like if you're coming from an older flagship phone, this phone may feel a little bit slower than what you're used to. But if you're coming from the A13 or the Galaxy A12, you pretty much know what to expect, and this would be a nice upgrade from those models, in my opinion. So hopefully this gave you a little closer look at the Galaxy A14 5G. I always like to try out some of the entry-level phones just to see how they're doing and what upgrades have been made. Overall, it's nice to see this one has a 1080p resolution screen. You're also going to get dual band Wi-Fi on here, where I know not that long ago I reviewed the Galaxy A12, and again, if you're coming from that type of phone, I feel like this one would be a nice upgrade. So if you've made it this far into the video, you may want to say thanks by subscribing, and don't forget to give a thumbs up if this video was helpful. This is Brian from Fishbee Productions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.